We have the seafloor in sight on the Deep Discover review.
And that marks ROV on bottom. Very nice, pilots.
Serious, stop 25 off bottom.
Copy.
Bottom looks like unconsolidated soft sediment. Possible bioturbation ahead of us.
There's the tether loop.
Looks good.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Steve Giddings just joined.
Good morning, Steve.
Steve, how are you?
Hi, guys. Great.
We just got on the seafloor. This is our deepest starting depth of the expedition so far. We're at a depth of 2,867 meters. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be spending our dive today climbing a slope/wall on part of the Sigsbee Escarpment. This is the steep south-facing face of the very complex topographic province, which is created by the upward movement of evaporite subsurface salt in the north-central Gulf of Mexico, creating the topography that is so prominent on seafloor maps of the Gulf of Mexico. We are east of Bryant Canyon, so we have spent time in Keithley and Bryant Canyons on this expedition, but now we're climbing the major topographic feature on the southern edge of the topographic province, which is the northwestern Gulf of Mexico, fronting the abyssal Gulf, the deep water part of the Gulf to the south. Getting organized. Got to do a little housekeeping when we get to the seafloor so that we can prepare to move upslope, which will be to the north approximately. This is the Okeanos Explorer.
Co-pilot, are any of your undercarriage lights not on?
I'm not sure I have the technology to answer that question.
It's just I'm looking at the still camera. It looks different lighting pattern.
Wait, are you saying co-pilot or pilot?
I was talking co-pilot. I thought you usually controlled the ROV's undercarriage lights.
Not necessarily.
Possible anemone in center screen.
All the lights are indicating on.
Okay. It may be an altitude thing.
I thought you meant
When we get ready to move here, we'll be moving at 0.1 knots to the north. Because we're on a slope,
just asking Jeff if
because we'll be angling across that slope, we're going to start this dive at a relatively slow rate of advance. We just have to wait and see what our local topography looks like before we can move too quickly here.
Sort of taking that into account.
Oh, okay.
Didn't look like the same lighting pattern.
All right. I think we're pretty good.
ROV nav, let me know when you get ready to move.
Copy that, Watchley.
Everything's good over here. I'm ready.
Pilots, if you look at high pack, our next move is not going to be directly upslope. It's going to kind of be up and along.
Okay.
Roughly, it's going to be bearing 010, 270 meters.
Okay. What's the speed of, are we on a fast survey today?
No, we're going to keep it very slow, 0.1.
Copy that.
And what about our light bars?
Yeah, we'll see what we see, ROV nav, and we might pick it up to 0.2, but I don't want to do it right away. I anticipate seeing all kinds of interesting biology right here. Stephanie needs this morning. So
Pretty
we're
good current here.
Bridge.
yeah, it would be good to get an estimate of current before we head out.
Bridge, ROV nav. Yes, I'd like to request a ship move, please.
Just a note that highest
270
backscatter
meters,
target is
bearing
due
010
east of us, about 50 meters.
at 0.1 knots.
Do you want us to go over there before heading to waypoint 2? Waypoint 2 is at 010.
It's 270 meters,
Um,
270,
Yes, actually, that would
bearing
consist of
0,
just
010,
heading to
10
waypoint
degrees.
1. We
at
landed a
110.
little bit off from waypoint 1.
ROV nav, I'm going to ask you to cancel that ship move.
Belay that last move, Bridge. Getting some calls for changes from the back row.
Yeah,
Cancel that.
we've got a deviation here. We landed a little bit
Thank you,
west.
Bridge.
We landed a little bit west of waypoint 1. I've got a request from the beach to head east 50 meters or so before we head to waypoint 2.
Watch lead, is the concern that we haven't hit waypoint 1?
Yeah, I
Apparently,
think it's worth it. It's a very high backscatter value.
apparently there's high backscatter value over there that they want to investigate. It's more than just an arbitrary point on the map.
We're
ROV pilot, you're within leash of waypoint 1.
copy.
So
Do you
just
want to open the fins expert view, and we can get an estimate of current? I've been drifting here.
We have got a current here. We're going to get an estimate of it. Wouldn't surprise me that we would see a current along the face of the escarpment. We know that there are sizable
DVL
currents at the
is
base of the
right, I
escarpment.
you don't want your speeds.
believe. Oh, yeah. Speeds for science.
0.12 knots.
And in what direction?
Stand by, watch lead.
My heading right now is
There we go.
311.
Wow.
Seeing some evidence here for topography at the seafloor, and a little changes in grain size as well. Like little furrows here, and maybe a concentration of shells in front of us. Could be a Holothurian track as well.
Co-pilot,
Nav.
let's take a look there. Are you seeing a direction for speed?
You're just going to get east and west.
Yeah.
Yeah, east and west on the
Yeah, but there. I mean, there's no polar direction anywhere.
No, but you can do the trig, right? I mean, they don't make it easy for you.
Just making sure I wasn't missing it somewhere.
throw that back over again. Speed norm.
Yes,
0.16
that's what
knots.
I was looking at, but I was looking for a quick direction, but they're not going to give it to me.
Do you have those numbers so I can?
Oh, direction. I understand. Okay, sorry.
Good. Okay. All right, we're going to be heading to waypoint 1. Jeff.
I understand. I think I'm staying here and just rotating to the right as you go.
Yeah, ROV pilot, apparently there's some high backscatter in the vicinity of waypoint 1, so we'll be looking for targets in the sonar as well.
Copy.
Go ahead, Dave Channel.
Can we reset the sonar?
Resetting sonar.
Can we zoom in on HIPAC also?
We are now heading approximately northeast towards waypoint 1
We have not compared them.
to investigate a evidence for high backscatter at that location before heading approximately slightly east of north to waypoint 2.
Dive Soup, yeah, we haven't compared them yet, but that's something we can do.
So I'm going to be turning my heading to the northeast, Jeff, if you want to follow me.
Okay.
I think we can get to waypoint 1 here with the vehicles without without moving the ship, which is slightly west of waypoint 1 at the moment. Does look like we have furrows in the seafloor here.
Maybe a tripod fish in the upper left. And a star in the lower right.
You read my mind. Thank you.
You can see the nature of the slope here. Uphill is to the left in the D2 view. Downhill is to the right.
Possible anemones in the lower left.
Got some variegated color in the seafloor that does suggest changes in grain size and burrowing as well. But I do see some larger bed forms here. Do look like furrows. We're moving more or less parallel with the slope here. Downslope again to your right in the D2 view, upslope to your left, and we are seeing more evidence for topography there in front of us.
Holothurian. These things are pretty ubiquitous out here.
Okay, my head's northeast.
Copy, co-pilot. Thank you.
Possible anemone center screen.
Maybe quick snap zoom just to make sure it's anemone.
Yeah, we can do that,
That's
guys.
fly trap.
Can we zoom in real quick?
Coming right up on it.
Thank you.
Brian, D2 now at this location is approximately at waypoint 1.
Watch the nav.
Go ahead.
All right,
To
video.
give you an estimate of our current, it was 0.18 knots.
Okay, great.
Roughly
if you could just
52
read
degrees.
the position to the event log,
Right.
you get a chance,
It's
and then we can proceed.
ROV
Or,
nav,
plan.
it's moving to the northeast.
Correct, moving to the northeast.
Thank you
That's
very
a
much.
different anemone. That's not a fly trap. We haven't seen this one yet. Almost looks like a corallimorph to me.
Can we get a tight on it?
Yeah, I'm just setting up on it.
You gotta come down a bit.
Yeah, come down for me. I'm
I
getting
think you're good.
tether pull.
Yep.
And the delta's 28 right now, so.
I think we've just seen we're just measured a current here of approximately 0.2 knots towards the northeast, which would be more or less parallel to the
Looking
trend
better.
of the
We
6B
can laser
escarpment
it
here.
as we move in.
And my experience, or what I've read about
laser
currents at the
sleeve
base of the
profile.
escarpment, where the currents are stronger, is that they are generally
Copy lasers.
running in an easterly direction.
Thanks,
Lasers.
guys.
So that's consistent with what we know about currents further down on the escarpment.
All right, come on in, video.
Brian, let me know when you're satisfied here and we can lay in a ship move towards waypoint 2.
Max zoom.
Very cool.
D2 is now southeast of waypoint 1, but very close to it. That's a pretty one, huh? We haven't seen that one
Yeah.
before.
Nope, this is a new one. This cruise.
And it looks like it's sitting on a piece of harder substrate. I am being told that my microphone is in and out this morning. I have not heard that before, but
Right.
I will check on it and get back to you.
Pulling out.
Thanks, pilots.
No, pull it. Okay. So I'm gonna head
Video.
to my left.
Again, everyone, let me know how you are reading me, but
on
we are
YouTube.
just south.
Coming
We're
in
almost
I'm
due
wondering
east
if
now
you
with
can
Deep
tell whether it's
Discover
the video
of
signal
waypoint 1,
or
very close to
the
waypoint
loss
1,
of
5 meters or
signal.
so. Brian, let me
Low
know when you
priority.
want me to lay
Yeah.
in a ship move to the
Came
north.
from the rack room.
Okay.
Okay, I think just a little more exploration here first. There's some like stocked things in the sediment behind the anemone. What were those? More anemones?
I didn't see them.
We
Sorry.
are seeing ridged outcrop at the seafloor. ROV pilot, let's go back to the anemone and see if we can see some stalked organisms right behind it.
Copy that.
We are seeing outcrop at the seafloor here. This might be the explanation for your high backscatter, Brian.
Yeah, that makes sense. See that white thing behind the anemone, and there's actually one, two
I think
others
it's
further
another
afield.
anemone on
Oh
the
yeah, they're
upper
probably anemones.
back.
Guys, can we get a zoom on the small white anemones? Like at noon and 3 o'clock?
Coming to 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Looks like that yellow-based
Mm-hmm.
anemone. Was it an anemone that we saw yesterday?
I think so. Just get a zoom on him.
Come out in video.
Yeah, no, it's not a fly trap. His tentacles are too long.
Now, are those small sponges to the lower left, or are those shells?
I think those are shells. They look like shells to me. Thanks, pilots.
Might want to get lasers on that before we go, though.
All right, come partial. Lasers.
I think we should also
Looks 5
identify that
centimeters.
small pink
That's
item.
great. Thank you.
If you got time for a snap.
Center screen.
Yep.
Come on in. Pebble.
Pteropod shell on the left. I don't know if that's a small sponge in the center view.
Not sure. I don't think it's a
Maxim.
sponge. It looks too hard.
Okay, pulling out.
Thank you.
Uh,
Video.
Video, I'm getting reports from the beach that my mic is breaking up. Stephanie is clear, but I am breaking up.
Hey, Jamie, at least on the conference call, you seem okay.
Roger that.
Yeah, I'm listening to both you, Stephanie, and the conference call in one ear while I'm listening to the pilots in the other, and I've not had any dropouts on the ship side.
Roger that. Thank you. Kim, apparently I'm coming through both on the telecon and on the video here on the ship on the party line. I don't know what else we can do here. You might want to troubleshoot your end.
Maybe refreshing. Sometimes that helps.
Brian,
Hey, Jamie, it's Brian Kennedy, Space Center. There was just a little network interruption that hit your audio a little hard going to I-1. So for a few minutes there, you were pretty broken on I-1, but it seems to have resolved itself.
Okay.
Roger that. Are we ready to move to waypoint 2, Brian?
I think we can start a slow ship move, point 1, which will give us just another minute or two to explore this outcrop while the ship move starts.
ROV nav, we can lay in a ship move to waypoint 2 at point 1.
ROV copies.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Larry, for monitoring our connection, and
Pilots,
that's useful for us.
our move will be 280 meters at 010.1 knots.
It looks like we do have outcrop
Copy,
at the
010.
surface, probably an explanation of the high backscatter here.
Bridge, ROV nav.
And we have started a very slow ship move to the almost due north at
Yeah, we'd like
010.
to try a ship move again now. This time it's 280 meters, 280 meters.
And we'll want to take
Bearing
quick zooms on anything
010,
on the encrusting that we
110.
haven't seen.
Yeah,
Or
that's a fly
Stephanie, can you
trap.
tell dead ahead what that is?
That's a fly
Good copy.
trap.
Okay.
I'm not sure about
Ship
upper
move
left
underway.
with the one center screen. It's definitely fly trap.
Let's take a zoom on the anemone, please.
All right, video. I'm gonna get closer
Hey,
to
Jamie,
this.
am I right that this is probably the most extensive sort of deep outcropping we've seen, the deepest extensive area?
Yeah, in the floor of both Keithley and Bryant, we were not seeing outcrop at this depth, but we are certainly in a different geologic province now. When we dove on the Sigsbee Escarpment in 2012, we saw outcrop everywhere.
Yeah.
Back up.
You got two
It'd be a good
anemones.
test of that idea about just how much biota is available for recruiting down here.
Right, and certainly we'll be looking at that all day.
Yeah.
Actually 3 anemones, I think. And some sargassum.
Permission to zoom tight lower right.
Thanks,
And
pilots.
then lasers before we leave, please.
Your lasers, partial.
Our lasers are 10 centimeters apart, about 4 inches. It's our primary means of assessing the size of objects on the seafloor. We've had intermittent issues with them on
Believe
this
there may
expedition, but
be
they seem to be working well
7
now.
fish up.
And you can see
Now
them
if you're
just below the
scanning serial
anemone now
view,
in the Deep Discoverer's
Does seem to be
screen.
something is moving towards you. If you tilt your camera up.
Oh, we got something ahead of us. Large fish.
Should definitely laser him while we've got the lasers on.
Being very accommodating, heading right
Permission
for
to
us.
zoom.
If you can zoom in on his face, that
Go
would be
for it.
great.
Boy, that's a gimme, huh?
Still coming at you.
Biggest one we've seen too, isn't it?
Yeah, he's pretty big.
Certainly pretty good sized. Got lasers on him right now. Probably not happy for having us shine the lasers right into his eyeball there. He's quite interested in the ROV.
Beautiful.
Mike Vecchione cannot join us for
Can you
most of
zoom
this
in on
dive, and he
Sirius?
said that we would undoubtedly see interesting things because he can't be here today. And I think the dive is starting out that way. Brian, we haven't moved
laser on
substantively
him
from
from the
waypoint
side.
1 yet. I mean, we're less than 10 meters from waypoint 1. We're just starting to move now.
Right. No, what I was saying in the log was just that by my plotting, we came down 50 meters west of waypoint 1, and the subsequent positions have not moved us any closer to it.
Well,
But,
the position you're getting, that's the Sirius position, not the D2 position. So we were probably,
Are the lasers still
well, at least
on?
I think so.
No, they're off.
No,
We
I
should
guess
get a
we are
side
giving you the
profile
D2
laser.
position, but remember that's a USBL estimate based on Sirius and the ship, so
Right.
that hops around a bit, so you have to be a little careful.
Getting
about
pretty
reading
high.
it too closely.
Right. Okay. Right. The complex topography might be messing with the.
Yeah, you have
USBL.
to be a little careful. I'm not seeing too much scattering in the USBL
Fine.
feed right now, but I wouldn't trust it too much. By our reckoning, we did come down west of waypoint 1, and you got a pretty good look around waypoint 1 before we left.
Yep. Okay. That sounds good. I just want to be on the lookout for
One
topography
side profile of that fin.
in the sector scanning and explore.
Well, we're angling up this slope now, and I think we're going to see, if my guess is correct, we'll probably see certain sections of this that are quite steep. That was the nature of the Sigsbee further northeast when we dove on it 2 years ago.
We're clear with lasers. I think we got enough of that.
Okay. we
Unless
have
science
to,
wants it.
I think we should start moving.
Fish was very
Any
accommodating.
estimates on how long
Heading
that thing is? Looks
010.
like better part of, it's more than a half meter long.
Yeah, we had lasers on it. I would guess more than 50 centimeters.
Yeah.
Full wide on Sirius, please. Thanks, Rolly. My head 010.
Copy.
I haven't seen any
We have 2 small anemones and a star.
motion yet on the Sirius.
We're moving slowly enough, so we should be able to have reasonable time to zoom on things we see.
Let me know what you want to see. Watch it.
Yeah, if you want to zoom in on the anemones real quick. I probably don't need to sit on them too long.
Okay.
I think
Am
they're
I
the
in
same
video?
ones we've been seeing. Yeah. It's like a small rock or something.
Yeah, it's sitting on hard substrate. I don't know whether it's an outcrop or what we call float. I don't know whether it's detached from the layered consolidated sediments we were seeing at waypoint 1. It's stained though. Looks like it might have been exposed to the seafloor for some time. Staining is often a product of harder material being in contact with seawater for a while. You'll get iron staining, you'll get manganese staining, which is darker.
That's good, pilots. Thanks.
And again, guys, if we don't tell you, you might want to, when you zoom back out, get lasers on these.
Lasers, co-pilot.
Yeah, relatively small, 10 centimeters across.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And you can see in the background of the anemone there in the center view that there is a harder substrate right here at the seafloor. That small ridge behind the anemones, that's more consolidated sediment. We are now moving slowly north of waypoint 1, approximately north. Waypoint 2 is about 250 meters away, and we're moving towards it at 0.1 knots, which is about 200 meters an hour. So it should take us a little more than an hour to get there at this speed. Gives us plenty of time to assess the slope and look at both geology and biology at this water depth. This is the Okeanos Explorer. It's worth, for those of you who don't do this a lot, it's worth remembering that we have about 9,400 feet of wire out below the Okeanos Explorer. It is the reason why we have to do our transits across the seafloor slowly. We have to move the ship. We have to move the Sirius camera sled that hangs more or less below the ship, but not completely, because if you think about 9,400 feet of wire, even though Sirius weighs a fair bit of weight, it's the wire that drives us through the water. We've got to move all that wire through the water, and so we get bends in the wire. And then we have the Deep Discoverer ROV, some more harder sediment there, that small ridge in the left center view.
Can I get a zoom on the round thing in the center screen?
Setting up for it right now.
Thanks.
And then you've got the Deep
Am I in
Discoverer
video?
ROV on a 30-meter flexible tether beneath the Sirius. There you go.
Sediment?
Well, I'm tempted to, we saw objects like this on the dive in Bryant that we ultimately decided might be concretions, burrow
Max zoom
concretions.
pilot.
It's pretty circular. I don't think it's outcropping, but we don't know. That's, but we should keep in mind that we saw similar looking features the other day and we thought they might be concretions.
I don't know if it's man-made or not, Kim. Maybe is it wood?
Oh,
Could be wood?
I don't believe so. I think it's, but I don't know. Can we get a tight zoom on it though? Right in the center, looks like it's got some grain.
Yeah, like a piece of wood or something.
Yeah, but you know, a concretion can have all kinds of texture associated
Okay.
with it. I'm not saying it's not wood. Believe me, I'm not. If it is a concretion, we're likely to see more of them.
Video? Just do a partial. I'm going to get closer to this.
My initial response at Bryant Canyon, Kim, was that what we were looking at was man-made, and then I was convinced later on, as we saw more of them, that it was natural. We'll try to get a closer zoom here at the center of it. Looks like it's got some grain associated with it.
There's also a bit of brown on the lower right,
Come on
touching
in,
it.
video.
Yeah.
Still can't really tell.
Well, I'm tempted to call it geologic though, rather than wood. I don't believe it's wood, but we'll need to see more of them. If these are naturally occurring as part of the outcrop, we're likely to see more of them as we move upslope.
Thanks, pilots.
That's great, guys. Thank you.
Right. Come on up, video.
And you can see the nature of the layered outcropping there, and we're on a slope that angles up to the left and down to the right as we move generally north.
You have another small anemone and a holothurian. Looks like 2 anemones.
We are at a depth of 2,873 meters.
Co-pilot video. So Jared was looking at that starboard
That's
camera in the control room,
and the
rack room,
Dites typica.
and
Holothurian.
unfortunately when he went in there it stopped flaking out, and I did see it over here, so it's not just your monitor.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
So I can't yet tell you if it's the camera or if it's one of our converters.
Right.
Another one.
Okay.
Got a pretty good slope here.
Oh yeah. D2 is moving more or less along the slope right now. We actually haven't changed water depth very much since we landed, because we've been moving the Deep Discoverer ROV more or less along the depth contour here. So it gives you a good view of the slope in front of us. We will be climbing up slope, however.
Say, did any of you guys ever solve the mystery of the corn yesterday?
No.
No, but there was some discussion about it. I think there were two sides to the story, those who believed we actually saw some corn and those who completely poo-pooed the idea.
Well, got records of it, I'm sure.